All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fins Talk Overtime. I'm Bobby Finstock, and that's the one and only Bret Lagasse. Bret, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm actually glad we're recording this a couple days later.
That's right. That's right. Gave you some time to kind of digest everything. Don't be so heated. Kind of be more kind of leveled. But hey,
Although I wasn't
surprise!
with Finstanza was, though. I wasn't at that level.
I was surprised because you were in the comments like, "Hey, you text me, hey, I'm watching post game finally." Yo, it's not that bad, So I was like, "Oh, okay." Now Brett kind of made me feel okay about it. So I definitely want to get first off. I want to welcome everybody for watching right now. You're watching Fitz Talk Overtime on the Fitz Talk Sports Network. Hit that like and subscribe button as you see on the bottom there. Catching us on X, on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching. We appreciate you. Come over to Fitz Talk Sports Network on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. A lot to talk about, and obviously we're on a new time right here because we are kind of doing this preemptive strike. We're recording and we're broadcasting for lunchtime Wednesday, so hope everybody's having a good lunch. Hope you're having a great day, and let's talk some Dolphins football. Even though Brett and I can't react to the comments, we will react live during the show. I'm sure we'll be in the comments and we'll be chatting with you guys as the show's going live. But before anything, Brett, let's just go through an agenda here. As you see the little headliner on the bottom there, I do want to touch on what's going on with the Dolphins offense. We know it's making history. We know the numbers are historic. Tyreek is still, he's 110 yards. He has to make 110 yards per game to get 2,000. Unheard of. He's still on pace. Offense is still doing very good. But when it comes to the top 10 defenses, they're only averaging 16.3 points a game, which is the Patriots, Bills, and Eagles game. They didn't score. They haven't been really good. So I want to touch on that. But before that, no one else has heard your thoughts on the Dolphins versus the Eagles. I know, like you said, you weren't like Finstanza. You weren't kind of like, you're losing your mind. Or me too. But you do have your thoughts. So I want to give you the floor right now. What are your thoughts right now on what happened on Sunday night, Dolphins versus Eagles?
All right, so I'm going to just go off the top here and just get rid of this right away. I'm not going to really talk about the whole officiating situation. It was crappy. There was about, 3 or 4 that I figured out that were like bad calls, right? And then the other ones were Miami had procedural issues. So that was just the Dolphins playing sloppy. But the one point I want to make on that, Miami finished last year 6.6 penalties a game, which ranked second in the NFL, second most in the NFL, right? This year, the Dolphins, right, and a lot of that was delayed game, procedural penalties, offside, stuff like that. This year, Miami came into this game ranked 5.8 before those 10 penalties. So even with those 10 penalties, jacked them all the way up to 6.4. I already did this math. So even get rid of all 10 of those penalties, Miami was still averaging 5.8 penalties per game leading up to this. So let's not pretend that Miami plays clean football and all that, because they still, I don't know where it ranked, but they still average penalties, quite a bit of penalties per game. So they're 6.4 now. This game technically is an outlier for that because there's a lot of penalties in one game. But Miami has been playing sloppy the past few weeks, and it's something I've pointed out since the Bills. Almost like they felt themselves in the first 3 weeks and kind of weren't, and they really didn't get humbled enough because they were sloppy against the Giants, better against the Panthers, and just sloppy this week. But the game overall, though, I was really surprised at the defense stepping up. The defense played well most of the game. They kept the Eagles rushing attack to 3.9 yards on the ground. The Eagles kind of broke their back at the end of the game. The last drive just kind of drove it back at them. Killed the clock, chewed the clock. But that's what you're going to get with the way this defense is constructed, the style of defense it is. And when this offense doesn't have a lead, when the team doesn't have a lead, the defense is going to struggle. But the defense overall, Phillips was playing very well. Van Ginkel was getting deep into coverage routes. He made a couple pass breakups and a couple plays that were really nice in zone. So Andrew Van Ginkel's played really well. David Long has been coming along and played really well. So the defense was like stepping up. Chubb was stepping up. He was playing well. Although the past couple of weeks, Chubb has played the run well and then hadn't been rushing the passer well. But Monday night or Sunday night, he rushed the passer really well. but struggled to stop or play the run on the edge. But overall, I mean, they played well. The biggest hang up with the defense, Seal was making plays, Wilkins made plays. They won the turnover battle, so hats off to the defense. Even Jerome Baker's making plays. The next drive he got juked out of his shoes because he didn't stay square. But you know, but you notice the run defense took a dip when David Long was no longer on the field. So we still need to upgrade the linebacker position, but I'm liking what I'm seeing for David Long lately, and I like what I see from Ange Van Ginkel playing linebacker. I still think we need to upgrade in good rotation, but the defense struggled because of the depth. There's no depth by pass rusher. There's nobody to rotate a pass rusher, and I like Van Ginkel because you can kind of rotate him outside, inside, all over. But you have no depth. Like you have nobody to rotate with, nobody to keep them fresh, nothing. And you don't really have a defensive end or pass rusher that takes over games. I saw Oak Ball for a little bit, but there's just no rotation on the D line, and these guys are gassed, and they can't get off the field. They're already struggling to they have to work extra hard to make plays. They have to scheme extra hard, so you need some depth. And I think long term they could keep a guy like Davis as a depth guy, solid guy, rotation starter, cheaper than Wilkins, and get themselves a good stud at D tackle. I'd love to get a guy like Vita Vea or just someone at that level, but that's future talks. But the overall defense, I think they handled themselves well. They had a tough matchup, a physical matchup. They handled themselves a lot better than I would expect them to. Still not good enough, but I don't put all 31 points on them because one, after the interception, and the offense couldn't sustain a drive. So I'll give the defense a break. But the offense it struggled too much. There was drops, uncharacteristic drops. Tua wasn't throwing it to open. There was open receivers he wasn't throwing it to. Incompletion. There was a wide open receiver underneath when on that face guard. I honestly don't care about that face mask penalty for the simple fact that Tyreek dropped the pass before, and on that play on fourth down, Tyreek was on the sideline. Your best player, the offense is
Yeah.
designed around him, and he's on the sideline. What did you expect to accomplish on 4th and 3? On big moments like that, you think players, not plays. Where was Tyreek? So that was kind of a question. Unless he was banged up, nicked up, whatever. Like what's happening? You already were without Waddle there. So the situation. I mean, there was a wide receiver. Why wasn't he throwing it? It would have been a first down, and he was just looking to the outside. He's not confident throwing over the middle, and that's something I'm starting to notice. I'll get to that in just a minute, though. Offensive line is, I mean, it's constantly injured. Wynn had injuries almost every year of his career. We relied on him. We relied on Armstead. Backups came in and they played backups. But there were moments there where there's plenty of time to throw, and Tua made some nice throws. And then there was plenty of time to throw, and Tua made some bad throws. And on that interception, he just kind of lofted it up there. It looked like he throws the spots. He's not reading the defense. The offense is designed to create a hole and a mismatch, and Tua just throws it to the spots that he's supposed to. And when those spots are taken up, it kind of falls flat. And that's where I have issue with this because I'm worried that teams are taking away the motions by just playing widening out. Hassan Reddick was in the way of the running game all the time. Smythe could not get him out of the running lanes. He was shedding Smythe's blocks left and right. Every time they tried to use a tight end to kick him out, he would just beat that block. Offensive lineman couldn't get to him fast enough. He was at the spot where he was supposed to be. And that, to me, was a red flag for me for this offense. McDaniel's scheming up as much as he can, but that's where the limitations of this offense is. We don't have the offensive lineman getting out there moving people as often as they should, and we're having to use motion and misdirection to create a rushing attack. We're having to use motion just to create passing in open lanes, and that's where this offense, when you ask this offense is a fraud, and Evan was saying, well, why is he trying to do a Statue of Liberty and all this trickery when until he gets sacked? Well, the reason is because the offense can't move the ball. They can't just line up and move the ball. They have to do something. They have to be creative, because your quarterback play isn't as good as as people think it's been. The system has been very good. The play calling has been very good. The play designs have been very good, and Tyreek has been unguardable. That touchdown to Tyreek, that was people don't realize that bracket coverage, how insane that was to beat that bracket coverage. That's how you stop fast receivers without getting hands on. And he beat both of them. It's not fair to be able to do that. That's unreal. He might be the only receiver in the NFL that could beat that coverage like that. So that's how they used to cover Megatron, and he used to beat it like the same way. So that touchdown was a lot of just kind of like, oh, he's open touchdown. He shouldn't have been open. That whole point of that coverage is to keep it from being open. So, and to create like small windows where he's open, but you have this much window to throw. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes the quarterback hesitant, depending on who it is. Well, with Tua, like he didn't have to make that tight window because Tyreek beat the coverage. And he's just throwing the spots in the field, that's a staple of like the March system. They've already said that they borrowed from the March system for the passing concepts, and this is why. Great, but when the play breaks down and the defense get to their spots and take the passing lanes away, they drop the linebackers back, which is exactly what they did to Tua last year. All of a sudden, he has to throw outside. He did make a couple throws outside, but you notice when they take the middle of the field away and he starts to throw outside, the struggles happen. So when you get a drop from Tyreek for a touchdown, it's a backbreaker because the likelihood of that look being open again is not there. Although there was an open receiver on a curl and he didn't hit it for whatever reason. He throws outside incomplete. So if you force Tua to throw outside and take the middle away, he has a higher chance of throwing incompletions and stalling the drives, and that's what's been happening. And the teams are pretty much saying, we'll get to the spots and take your run game away, and Tua's got to beat us. And those top 10 defenses, that's where he struggles, especially zone. It's mainly zone. For some reason, he struggles with cover two. I don't understand it. But any zone coverage, he really struggles with.
So let me ask you this. And so obviously a lot of the talk was on the referees. Okay. Yeah. And I get it. And I wasn't on post game trying to say it had nothing to do with the referees. No, the referee was blatantly obvious. Mm-hmm. Okay. How much do you put on the referees on the ridiculousness that they did that? 10 penalties on Miami, 0 penalties on the Eagles. And it wasn't the Eagles played a clean game. It was blatant penalties. Right. But we'll let the NFL. I know McDaniel did I send in some plays that he thought were questionable to the league office, and we'll let that roll. But how much of the loss do you put on the referees?
A much smaller percent than the Dolphins. And part of the reason I say that, I would say way less than half, like 25% of the loss, because the Dolphins were in the game. There was an interception for a touchdown, 17-17. And all of a sudden it was 24-17. We were in that game for the longest time. Like 31-17 doesn't tell the entire story.
True.
We know that. But 10 points from the offense here.
7 points.
Well, 7, yeah, because the
3 points by the kicker. So I say 7 points, but I understand.
However, to your point, 7 points off the interception, 3 points off a fumble, 10 points off turnovers. And even McDaniel said you like to get in the end zone there. So, yeah, and the defense was holding them. Like, I'm sorry, but like all the way to the fourth quarter, your defense is only giving up 24 points and you're averaging 30-something points a game. Where's this prolific offense? And you can touchdown negated by the holding call. Okay. We've been in that situation before, but how come we have an explosive offense and we get behind and we're 3rd and 15 and we're throwing short of the sticks? We're throwing an out route to Tyreek, which he was running a zone beater, and you have Waddle running a man beater behind him, and Tua's throwing an out route to Tyreek, and an undrafted rookie's tipping it at the end of the game. That's how you end the game when you got Waddle running open. That was the last play on offense. Like, what are you doing? Like, your Waddle's wide open on a zone beater, and or a man beater. They're running man boom, hit them. What's going? It's like it's the simple stuff, the procedural stuff. Offensive line struggling to not so much hold their blocks. That's where people don't understand. It was the Eagles were smart. Okay, they got a backup left tackle, backup left guard, backup center. We're going to overload the left side. Well, Eichenberg's not. I think the center's the one calling this protections. Well, they're rushing 5-0, 5 all. What that means is they're rushing even amount. They're rushing 5. Offensive line has 5, so you have enough blockers. However, no one's calling a slide protection because they got 3 of the blockers to the left side, or 3 of the rush to the left side, 2 to the right. Well, slide protection. Everybody slide to the left and close those lanes up. And that's if you call it a slide protection. If the back's back there, tight end's there, he might chip and help. Nothing. So it's like there's no communication. So Eichenberg was the reason they got the delay game, the first play of the offense, because he wouldn't snap the ball. And the other delay game, Eichenberg wouldn't snap the ball. Like, so I don't know who you want to put that on. You would put that on Eichenberg for not being prepared, or you want to put that on the coach and GM for thinking that a backup guard that's been terrible at every position he's played. No offense to the guy, but he's not played very well at all. And you're going to put him at center and say, oh, he's going to do better. No backup plan. So you had no one who knows how to make those calls or nothing. No one stepping up to do that. Overall, I just can't. So many mistakes from the Dolphins. I just can't put this game on the officiating. Now, if we had played the Bills very tight or beat the Bills, and we had like this wasn't an issue of beating top 10 defenses, and this game was a shootout, and the Dolphins offense was clicking, the defense was playing well like they were, and then the penalties were happening. Yeah, you guys like we got like the officiating was shitty, like I get it, but the Dolphins just didn't play well at all. 7 points from the offense. The defense helped. Or the defense basically chipped in 10 points. So, I mean,
and that's my thing. Again, there's no denying, and I'm not saying, I'm not discrediting the 70 points put on Denver. I'm not discrediting the 40 points put on Carolina. But and I know a good one of my somebody who views the show and who I appreciate, Scotty. He was saying yesterday, a lot of teams struggle against top 10 defenses. Name another one that doesn't. And I'm not about that. I'm not naming the Dolphins. And I mean, I'm sure we could pull something up or whatever. But right now, the Dolphins have not shown, and you got to at least have one game. Mm-hmm. Show me one game that you could play like you're supposed to against a top 10 defense. If you're the number one offense in the NFL, then maybe the greatest offense of all time if it plays out the way it's looking, supposedly. Okay. You threw up it was 36-34 against the Chargers. The Chargers are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, the 31st worst defense. The Broncos, you put up 70. They're the worst defense, 32nd in the NFL. Mm-hmm. The Giants, 31-16. They were 23rd in the NFL. The Panthers, 42-21. You put 42 points on them. They're the 18th best defense in the NFL. Now you go to the Patriots. You beat the Patriots 24-17. Okay. They are the 9th best defense. You go to the Bills, you lost 48-20. Now they were top 10 at the time. Of course, now with all the injuries, Tre'Davious White and so forth, they're out. I believe they're 14th now. They were top 10 at the time, I believe 4th at that point. And Philadelphia, 6th best defense, 31-17.
And they were already missing their nickel corner, and then they had a safety and another corner out. So,
and that's my thing. It's like, I can understand you coming up against tough defenses, and you're not going to play exactly like you play against these other squads that are lower in tier on defense. But you need it. But when it's 1, 2, 3 teams, and you're not, you can't score over 20 points, and you're supposed to be the number one offense in football, that's concerning for me. And that's why I'm not. I know Evan said that he's ready to call it what do you call it? Pretenders. Right. I'm not ready to call the Dolphins pretenders. Now, maybe the offense can be a conversation right now because they can't top a top 10 defense. Mm-hmm. You look at the following games that are coming up. You got the Patriots this week. That's the 9th best defense in the NFL. Of course, the 25th best offense. I expect us to win that game, but I don't expect a blowout.
No,
I don't. No, it's going to be a close game like it was before.
Unless the defense just like plays lights out, I just don't expect it at all.
Yeah. Then you got the Chiefs. That's going to be the next measuring stick game. Every game, you got to win every game. Every game counts, whatever. I'm not degrading any game, any win. The Dolphins are 5-2.
No. Yeah.
Dolphins are 5. Last year, they were 3-3 at this point. They're 5-2. They're the number one team in the East. They're one of the top teams in the AFC. That's why I said they're still a contender. This is not something where it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. What I'm saying is this is something to be concerned about. All right. But the Chiefs, they are the 7th best defense in football and the 2nd best offense in football.
Their defense is really good.
Very good. So, like, I felt better before the Eagles game. I felt better about the Chiefs game than I did the Eagles. And I predicted an Eagles loss. I mean, a Dolphins loss to the Eagles.
Right.
But after the Eagles game, I feel more concerned about the Chiefs than I did before.
Yeah.
Now, credit, this is not in Arrowhead. This is in London. This is, it's a kind of neutral field. I don't know.
It's actually Germany, sir. Okay. It's
Germany, excuse me. Whatever. Tomato, potato, whatever, Anyway, but I don't know if they're traveling the same time we are. It's not like they played next weekend.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so
it's a neutral field.
It's neutral. So Miami still has a very strong – yeah. And so the one thing I know for sure with the Patriots, they cannot overlook the Patriots. Do not sleep on the Patriots looking at the Chiefs. I know Tyreek Hill has that circled. I know he's ready to go, but he needs to focus on the Patriots, the whole NFL, the Dolphins do. That's going to be a tough game. Like, that's a tough pill to swallow, 7-2. You got the Raiders. They're top 10 in defense. They're the 10th best defense right now, 27th in offense. Okay? Got the Jets, who are actually surprising a lot of the NFL, a lot of people. They're 24th on defense and 30th in the NFL. Commanders, 29th defense, 22nd offense. Titans, who are looking like they're on a shopping spree, or at least they're doing a garage sale.
Yeah.
They're 16th best defense, 28th best offense. Got the Jets again. Cowboys, 5th best defense, 16th best offense. Ravens, 2nd best defense in football right now, 9th best offense. And then you got the Buffalo Bills, again, of course, right now, currently, after the injuries, 14th best defense, 5th best offense. So Miami has shown that they could do it. They could survive. They could beat a team 24-17, 9th best defense in the NFL, New England. So a team like the Raiders, Raiders. That's the only team where I could say, oh, we could get that game.
Yeah.
That's whatever. But other teams, you got to have cause to pause. Until Miami could show they could put up 30-plus points of offense on a top 10 defense, like the Chiefs, like the Patriots, or the Raiders, whatever you want to say. When they do that consistently, I will take off my cause to pause. But right now, this offense, as great as it is, and it's amazing to see, and you got to give Tua credit, McDaniel, Tyreek, the running backs, Butch Berry on offensive line with the weather he's been dealing with, absolutely. But you got to get the job done against those top-tier teams, especially some team like the Chiefs, like the Ravens, like Buffalo, like the Cowboys, because those are the teams you could potentially face in the playoffs or Super Bowl if it's the NFC. Right or wrong?
Right. It doesn't matter. So I agree with everything you said. And I like the note on the bottom here that you put on here on the ticker. Averages 16.3 points. And so Miami's averaging 15 points a game, the Bills and Eagles offensively. So we're going to talk offensively. I gave them 10, and then against the Bills, or Eagles, 20 against the Bills. So offensively, I just because we're talking the offense versus the defense.
Only offense. Here. I'm only talking offense, not total score.
And real quick, you said you don't want to mention frauds. Is the offense fraudulent? And so far it is. Because 10 points, 20 points, 30 points, that's not playoff offense, right? In the defense, we know how bad they were against the Bills. That was just abysmal. That was embarrassing. They just got beat top to bottom. Vic Fangio refused to adjust. Cater Kohu was just put in a bad spot. They tried to roll help to him with coverage that just didn't change it, and it was just an all in all just ugly game. We were down 2 touchdowns at one point. Then the interception happened. It was just all downhill from there. Now, people want to point out that the Dolphins have beaten good opponents to beat the Chargers this year. They're not a bad team. New England's not a terrible team. They just beat the Bills, and we beat them We were up 17-3 at the half and won 24-17. But I'll give that as a good win. Record-wise, the Patriots aren't good, but no one looks at the Patriots no one should look at the Patriots and say easy win ever.
No,
I don't
absolutely.
care. It doesn't matter how bad the Patriots are doing. When Bill Belichick is there, you do not look them over because that is the team that could beat you on your best day. It's just because how he coaches. So you never overlook them. So I would not. And it was in New England again. So on Sunday night, I'll give them a quality win, but it's still not playoff level win. And the problem is people see it as, oh, well, the 49ers lost and all that. Yeah, the 49ers are on alert for like a team that is either having a down year or they're having a rough patch in their season and have to figure it out in a hurry before it becomes an issue. It's not over. It's the middle of the year. I get it. But yeah, they are that. But they're not frauds because we've seen the 49ers in the Super Bowl recently. Okay, with a lot of this core team still there. We've seen the 49ers in playoff games. Just last year, the 49ers were in more playoff games last year than the Dolphins have been in since 2016. And they've in the same amount that we've been in since 2003. So there's a reason these teams are like, look, oh, why aren't they on fraud alert? Because they've recently won. Someone brought up, we got to put the Lions in there, right? Yes, absolutely. Because the Lions missed the playoffs last year at 9-8. They did beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs, but first game of the year, they did beat a good team. Don't get me wrong, and it was definitely a quality win. It's a better quality win than Miami has at the moment. But then they get blasted by the Ravens like we used to. So yeah, you could definitely put them in that same category because what we're doing right now, we are a good team. So the positives are, and this is where people I think get a little blinded. In the past, the games that we won, we wouldn't have won before, especially with Gase and Philbin. The amount of mistakes that the Dolphins made against the Giants would have lost that game with Gase and Philbin. The interception, the penalties, the stupid play, right? So, like, we know Philbin and Gase would have lost those games. They would have spiraled. And the way that we went down 14-0 against the Panthers, it was a terrible way to start a game, overlooking them, weren't humbled, settled it down, got right back on top of it. Again, Gase, Philbin, maybe even Flores, lose that game every time. This with McDaniel, cut right back in, get back on the horse, and hit the ground running. That's what good teams do. Good teams overcome their mistakes, right? The Eagles made a lot of mistakes. They overcame their mistakes to beat us. But, the competition, the competitive teams, the teams that are in the Super Bowl, they can make mistakes against good teams and still win. All right, so Miami's not there. Not there yet. They're not. Will they get there this year? We don't know. We'll see. But if you can't step up to the level of a playoff team now, how can you expect to step up to the playoff level? Because this is no disrespect. Giants and Panthers are here. Next level, here, right?
Yeah.
And then playoff levels up here. So you're not even getting to here, let alone here when the playoffs come. And who do you think we're going to play in the playoffs? We're not going to play crappy teams in the playoffs.
We're not going to play the Broncos.
Right.
We're not going to play the Panthers. We're not going to play the Giants. Yeah. We're going to play Buffalo. We're going to play Kansas City. Yep. We're going to play Baltimore. So when it comes time to play those games, you're absolutely right. We're going to play teams like the Eagles. I mean, God willing, we're in the Super Bowl. We're going to play those teams. You have to step up.
Right. And winning the division would be key to success for this team because
100%
December or January in that heat, because it's hot in Miami in January for everybody else. Get Buffalo, if they're afraid of the sun down there in Miami in June or January, shoot. And running that offense, yeah, you might have a better chance. But, you have to get to that level and step up. McDaniel's been there. McDaniel's been to a couple Super Bowls with the Falcons, with the 49ers.
Oh, and I believe in McDaniel. So, I like McDaniel. I like his energy. I like what he brings to the team, but not just the team, but to the organization as a whole, to the community, the defense community as a whole. I like him. I'm not ready, I know Evan said that if they lose against New England or the Chiefs or whatever, or they're one and done in the playoffs, he says blow it all up. And the Ross factor is a wild card. But I like McDaniel, and obviously he's shown what he could do as I mean,
Yeah.
we used to call what people would say Philbin, Gase were offensive gurus, Cameron before that, and we knew they weren't. McDaniel has shown that he is that. I mean, what he's been able to do for some of these players, and I know Tyreek, everybody, it's very easy to say, oh, but Tyreek does. Sure. But you're not, you got to look at the running game. You got to look what he did for Tua. There's still, there's, Tua, assistant quarterback. Most guys are. My thing is that Tua has shown that he could be a successful quarterback in this league. Yeah. He's shown he could be good. He's leading the top offense in the NFL. His numbers are looking good. But here's the question. Again, my 3 questions for this season, and I've added a third one now. The first one was be healthy most of the time throughout the season. I say 15 games, okay? Not 13, but 15. Second, play well into the December. He hasn't done so yet. He needs to do it this year.
Yeah,
that's right. And then the third now is show the same results that you do against the lower tier defenses. Do that against a top 10 defense. I'm right now currently, and you guys, if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch. It aired last night. It's airing now for us, but it airs at 7:30 Eastern on Tuesday nights. Real Talk Fin Talk with Steve Malloy and Rob of DolphinsThursday.com. They're on their show right now. I have it playing. I'm obviously not listening to them, but I'm watching them. I always do that for all my shows, kind of pay attention to everything. And somebody had said that one of the points somebody made here in the comments was that all the Dolphin stats are misleading because of the Broncos game. You have to that's not a lie. We have to kind of remember that. It's like the Broncos, that was a great game, and the offense did something that was against an NFL defense. No matter what anybody says, the worst defense in the NFL. No matter what anybody says, that's still an NFL defense, and our offense did that.
And I would take about 3 or 4 of their defenders on our defense.
Justin Simmons, Josie Jewell, Pat Surtain Jr.
Yep.
I mean, there's guys absolutely 100%. But what I'm saying is that, I wouldn't say ignore that game, but we have to be realistic in regards of the fact that we are doing that against terrible defenses. We should do that. It's just the same way somebody says, oh, Tua's only good because of his receivers and his weapons. Well, he should. If he was terrible with Tyreek and Jalen and company, then there's a real problem. But Miami should put those points up. But they got to do it against the top 10 defenses. Because when it comes time for playoff time, defense wins championships.
Yeah.
Miami's offense can't beat a good defense. That's a problem. Now, Miami's defense, let me ask you this. Because a lot of people are saying, hey, get Nick Needham back, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey's about to come back. How much of their returns are going to impact positively for this Dolphins defense?
Well, with Holland out, I
know.
Yeah, the hits keep coming, man. So one defense, David Long is healthy and coming back, or not going to miss time. That I'm excited about. Holland missing time sucks, but Ramsey coming back gives this team energy off the bat. He's a leader. He's a dog. He's going to bring energy. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If someone's not playing well or missing assignments or just kind of has this like, Ramsey ain't going to be – he's going to call him out. He's going to tell him to step up. Fangio is going to tell guys to step up, and they are stepping up. I love that Fangio said that he views Needham as a safety and nickel corner. My eyes perked when I saw that, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, so basically Needham's going to be helped wherever he's needed, which is nice because we had that like Elijah Campbell. But I like that with him because Needham we know can play really well at nickel corner. And we know he's a good corner, nothing great, nothing like elite, but he does his job and does it well, and he tackles very well. That was one thing Flores loved about him. Well, that's also what Fangio loves. So all of a sudden, if he can fill in a safety, I got to thinking, he's a decent-sized guy. He's about 6 foot, 200 pounds. So he's a prototypical size corner, but he tackles well. I'm like, wait a minute, he could just be a good corner that has a little bit better ball skills, or safety rather, that has good coverage skills and some ball skills. Like that's actually perfect. So now you have some versatility in your secondary coming back. You also have Jalen Ramsey. Oh, now you can move Jalen Ramsey around a little bit, and hopefully X is healthy. I think X was sat just for long term because he is in a plus side of 30. I know that if anybody asks about Cam Smith, the only thing I could think of is his zone defense is difficult to learn. He was a man coverage corner. He relies on athleticism and his dog nature. Jalen Ramsey's been working with him, but I think it's a lot for him to learn and process, and I don't think they trust him out there and blowing assignments. Maybe when Ramsey's out there, the safeties are better. I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of. But defensively, honestly, at this point, go get Danielle Hunter. Go get a depth, or go get another D lineman that's solid.
So let me ask you
passer.
this. Let me just ask you this, because I know people are going to say this. First off, when it comes to any position for the Dolphins, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Don't sleep on any position. I don't care how many guys we got on there. I don't care what we have, whether if it's a running back, a receiver, an edge rusher, a linebacker, corner, whatever you want to say, a tackle, whatever. Because Miami has shown that they don't care. They're gonna, if they think a guy could help them, or they think he's gonna be a bargain, they're gonna get him. I.e., Chase Claypool. We'll see what happens with him. Danielle Hunter, Minnesota Vikings edge rusher. Somebody says we don't need another edge rusher. Brett, what is he going to do for our defense? Go.
Improve it. All right, so you saw I had this argument back in earlier in the year, right? Before the season started. I wanted Brian Burns, and I saw Danielle Hunter. I've been like pounding the table for Danielle Hunter because I was a big fan of coming out of the draft, and I like what he does in Minnesota. He also plays the run well, but I'm like, he makes it better. He's better pass rusher than Phillips and Chubbs are right now. And he plays the run, and he's physical. Oh, by the way, he's on a 1-year contract. So Minnesota has to trade, like, once he gets something for nothing. So you might be able to get him for cheaper. So all of a sudden now you got this guy, and you pay him. You pay your pass rushers, and Mike McDaniel has said he wants a pass rusher every year. Man, he makes his team better. He makes the defense better. Phillips and Chubb are getting rest. The end of games, Phillips and Hunter and Chubb are all fresh because they're rotating and they're getting after the quarterback. So that's what you want. That's what you want to see, and that's what we need. And we also need a linebacker. But with Danielle Hunter, you can move Van Ginkel inside full time or to strong side backer, which is still inside in that system.
So let's say if you get a Danielle Hunter, you could solve your inside linebacker problem by moving Van Ginkel to inside.
Yeah, you can solve the linebacker issue by keeping him a linebacker more long term, which is where they view him, which is where Fangio views him. He also likes blitzing him outside. He loves using Van Ginkel all over. And Van Ginkel is just extend him now because he needs it. Yeah, we need him. He just brings an attitude to the defense. I love it. But that would be nice.
Let me ask you this. I want to talk about very quick, because since the beginning of the year, or even a little bit before, people got on you about Jalen Phillips because of your critique on. I know you laugh because everybody gets on you about Jalen Phillips.
It's fun,
yeah. And so Jalen Phillips, obviously the talent is there. He's had great plays. He's a physical specimen. I think he can still develop into he is a good player. I think develop into a great player. But I have heard the same people that criticized you on Jalen Phillips start to come around and say, man, I don't know what's going on with him. So what are your thoughts on Jalen Phillips this year, and what can he do, or what can the Dolphins do to get him to just hit his potential, reach his full potential?
Well, one, honestly, at this point, kind of keep pushing him in the direction he's going. I think Fangio is big for him so I think Flores would have been really, I think if he was still under Flores, I think he would have blossomed more because Flores is a very accountable guy. And I think last year kind of stunted his growth because he was schemed home a lot. And then that's how it's okay. As a rookie, he was schemed home a lot. He was kind of learning the whole standing up thing and hand in the ground and all that, but he's definitely a good athlete. He plays the energy. You see how confident he is of a guy. He's a very confident guy. He's confident in his skill set. He's a talented kid, and he's one I don't want to give up on. And I've said that multiple times. Him and Holland, like the only frustrating part I have of those two is I know how talented and good they can be, and they're just like, I feel like they're right there, and they're about to break through and be really good players, and can be, and you don't quit on that. But getting a guy, Danielle Hunter, or another pass rusher allows Phillips to kind of learn, pick his brain. Like I feel like he's gotten better with Chubb because they're competing with each other, and then he's also learning some hand techniques. So he's starting to learn a couple things, but he's starting to come along though. Like he's doing well. The sack numbers are coming in, and he played with some energy Sunday night, which I liked what I saw from Phillips because he was playing with some fight. Now, yeah, Lane Johnson had a bad ankle and was beating him. And I got a really close friend that's an Eagles fan, and him and I were talking about the game. And he said, I'm not making an excuse. He goes, but he said, it just sucks seeing Lane Johnson struggling. He said, but man, 15 was good. He said he was having a hard time taking or handling him. He said, and he said he's watched Lane Johnson play banged up before. And he's like, Phillips or 15 looked really good. And I was saying, that's Jalen Phillips. And I was like, I was actually happy with how he looked. He was in the backfield a lot. He was getting pressure. He was chasing, you know, yep. But it was giving chase. He was giving them fits. He was getting in the backfield. He was causing problems. So it was chase. It hurts. Sorry, it's a brain fart. I think Phillips is getting close. I think he just has to keep working and just have that accountability and just know, hey, I'm getting there. I'm almost there. Just keep taking care of myself. And on the plus side of him, this year, him missing time was really the first year he's really missed time. All the injury history he's had, this is the first year he's dealt with some injuries and he's battled through it. And he looks like he came back kind of ticked off that he's missed some time. So I'm happy with what I'm seeing from him, and I don't think you give up on him. And I think just bring another pass rusher, and you just kind of keep developing him. Just keep working with him. Hey, I can't hear you, Bobby.
Sorry. I was agreeing with you. I say, yeah, I don't give up on him, all that whatnot. I was trying to be nice to mute myself just in case. But anyway, but what I was saying, what I want to say is another point on the defense I want to touch on, and then we'll get into Patriots and then kind of touch a little bit on the Chiefs. But the Christian Wilkins. Okay. When I was down, first off, we had a blast. Missed you down there. Would have been awesome to have you.
Man, that would have been so fun.
Fan club weekend was amazing.
List.
Yeah, dude, it was great. One of the conversations, we were on Clock Blockers live for Miami Sports Music. Yes, Clock Blockers. I saw you raise your eyebrows. I'm saying it right. No, I didn't say anything else.
Let's say, is that a website we're gonna pay for, Bobby?
No, yeah. I was lonely down there. No, anyway, we were live at the show. We were at Boat Campers and live on location, and they were doing a live show. And we had Manny, Bearded Fanatic there, awesome dude. Steven Daniels, awesome dude. Nando Talk. Yeah, Finn Stanza, Rob of Dolphins Thursday. We were all chatting it up, and we were talking about Christian Wilkins. And obviously, yeah, for his role as a player, you love him. You as a person, you love him. As a teammate, you love him. But there are things that are missing. I've said, they asked me how much am I willing to give him over $20 million? No. I said my number is 15 to 18. Okay, that's where I stand. All right, but my standpoint is if Miami knows they're not going to give him over 20 million or 20 million plus, if they know that the deadline is coming up, it's on the 31st. I believe that if you know you're going to lose him in free agency because you're not going to give him the money he wants, trade him now.
Yeah.
Tell me this: what number are you comfortable with paying Christian Wilkins? And would you trade him now, or because the way Miami's projecting, they look like they're going to go to the playoffs, maybe a deep run, depending if they could get some stuff straightened out. Would you say, no, I'd rather keep him because he's a strength to this team where he does come into play, or no, I'd rather not lose him for nothing, move him before the deadline and then go and secure that whoever you brought up, I know in the comments, they say sign Raquan Davis, you got Sealer, and I said trade for someone to fill that role. But if you're running the team, what number are you comfortable with paying him? And if you're not going to get him at the 20 plus, would you trade him before the deadline or keep him until after the season?
That's a tough one. I've mentioned trading him at the deadline to get something for nothing. Honestly, the number that I would be comfortable paying him is less than what the Dolphins have already reportedly had offered him, like $25 million a year. But he turned it down, and I'm not comfortable paying him. He's got the most sacks in his career already in a season. But I'm so weary of paying contract year guys. I love Wilkins, but this is what I've said before. Everything you said about Wilkins, like we love him as a player, as a person, but he doesn't rush the passer enough. And it's like, how much does he affect the defense? But like you said, what I've said before, with this defense, if he performs, is it contract year why he's performing, or is it the defense? It's really hard to say.
So okay.
That's tough for me. But I would honestly, I would let Fangio tell me. If Fangio was like, yeah, no, he's a fit in this defense, he's doing well in this defense, I'm paying him because I'll hang it on to him for this year, and then maybe tagging him next year, and then if it's not working out, I'll trade him on the tag. But if maybe, but if Fangio's like, I don't see him as a future in this, I'm trading him at the deadline because it's somebody could use him. I'll see if Flores wants him in the Daniel Hunter deal.
Minnesota, well, yeah, right, and then you could save yourself a pick. I mean, or a high pick. You can kind of say, hey, okay, I'll give you a third rounder next year, and with Christian Wilkins, and you give me a fifth rounder back, and then Danielle Hunter. So we'll see what happens with that. I just wanted to ask you your opinion while we're on the show here. All right, so we're at the 45-minute mark. I hope everybody's enjoying the show. Again, we will react to the comments. We'll be on the commentary, so keep your eye out for us, Bobby Finstock and Bret Lagasse. But again, watching Finstock Overtime on the Finstock Sports Network, I kind of like this. It's kind of easy. I love, we're gonna have like a nice little weekday show. Would be kind of fun, kind of a little change up.
I like it.
Yeah. Can kind of react to your own stuff. I could write, hey man, this Bret Lagasse guy's a douche, and just tweet it out.
This guy sucks, dude.
This guy sucks. Who's
Phillies gear? What the hell?
Sucky ass.
By the way,
Phillies.
I had to take my Dolphins hat off and put my Phillies hat on the next day, and I felt dirty doing it.
You did. You look dirty right now.
I look dirty.
Kind of look at this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to double check. I thought you were wearing Buffalo Bills gear for a second.
I'm not gonna burn the hat. Now I gotta burn this hat and hoodie, Bob.
Yeah.
Let me jump through a table.
So the man, all right. So we got the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes your schedule, you hopefully could pregame or postgame for this week. But maybe not pregame. Who knows? I know how your schedule's kind of crazy. So let me ask you.
Definitely, hopefully postgame.
Postgame for sure. That would be great. Because you kind of helped me with Evan, kind of calm him down a little bit if anything goes bad.
Win or lose.
Win or loss, I know, right? But what are your 3 keys to secure a Dolphins victory for Sunday against the Patriots? Because again, I'm not ready to make a prediction now, and you could give a prediction now because I don't know if you'll be able to come on before any other show. So first off, your 3 keys to secure a Dolphins victory against the Patriots, because it is a top 10 defense. New England won against Buffalo. They're going to be hyped up for this game. They're going to want to show, hey, we could still do it. Get 301 for Belichick, all that whatnot. 3 keys to victory, and then we'll get to your prediction and score.
Well, I think the biggest key to victory is going to probably be the same thing I'm going to say for every time we play the Patriots. It's just discipline. Don't play sloppy, no mistakes. That's going to be the biggest thing. I don't care if you have backups in. I don't care who's in there. Discipline. Watch the small mistakes. Don't take anything for granted. Just play disciplined, play smart. That's going to be the number 1 key. And I think that's going to be the key. If you watch why the Bills lost to the Patriots, they're the most undisciplined team, and that's why they lost, offense and defense. And it was pretty obvious. Bills have a better talented team than the Patriots, so that's going to be the number 1 key. The second key is to get your offense going in a hurry. Start getting it out there. Use that speed and start mixing it up and try to get the ball and McDaniel to keep on foot on the gas when it comes to the rushing attack. And then the third key is defensively elevate your play from the Philly game. Build off of that. Control or play well at the line of scrimmage. Do not let New England run all over you, because the New England has the ability to run all over us. Their run game works. Their offensive line is good. Do not let them control the clock. Do not force them to put the ball in Mac Jones' hands. That's probably the best way to say it. Force Mac Jones to beat us. That's defensively. That's my 3 keys are play smart and disciplined football, limit the penalties, and just mental mistakes. I'm not even talking turnovers, just mental mistakes. Offensively, get going early and do not stumble. Do not try to get over creative. Just keep doing what you've done best. Don't try to get away from that. Do what you do best. Defensively, make Mac Jones beat you. Stop the run and force Mac Jones to beat you. Do not be afraid to put an extra defender in the box. Mac Jones and the receivers are not going to beat you. That's my 3 keys on that.
Oh, they're perfect. I think, right. I mean, all of them. I like that too. Build off the Philly game, control the line of scrimmage. Because again, I think Miami's offensive line, defensive line got bullied on Sunday night. I want Miami's offensive line with Connor Williams back, hopefully, and Miami's defensive line. I want them to have a big game against New England.
And I think they got bullied near the end because they were gassed.
Yeah.
That was my thing. That's why I gave them a little bit of a break.
Fair enough. And okay, do the Dolphins lose their second straight? Do they sleep on the Patriots and it costs them? Is it a trap game or do they win?
No, see, I don't know if it's a trap game because they're coming off a loss. They're coming back home. They're hard to beat at home. New England hates playing in Miami. I don't remember the last time New England won in Miami.
So I have that somewhere. Hold on, I can tell you right now. I actually have that up. Let me see if I have to go to my email. Let's see.
Try to find it, but yeah, I think Miami obviously has the advantage being at home, coming off of a loss, getting some guys back healthy, even with Nick Needham. Although it'd be nice to have Holland still for this game.
Here we go. So a Dolphins win would give Miami a 6-2 start for the first time since 2001. It would mark Miami's 16th win in the past 18 games, home games. The last time Miami won at least 16 of 18 home contests, that was when they went 23-2 at the Orange Bowl in October 30th, 1983 to January 4th, 1986. Miami's 882 win percentages in its past 17 home games, 15-2, is tied with Kansas City and San Francisco for the best in the NFL since the run began on November 7th, 2021. Miami's sixth win, if Miami might be Miami's sixth win in its past 7 meetings with New England, it would be Miami's best 7th game stretch against the Patriots since 6-1 against them from October 7, 1999 to October 6, 2002. Give Miami its 4th straight home win. This is if they win. This will give Miami's 4th straight home win against New England. Last time the Dolphins won at least 4 straight home contests against the Patriots was a 5-game win streak from 98 to 2002. This would be the 20th win in the past 28 games, started by Tua Tagovailoa, dating back to November 21st, 21. He's currently 19-8 in the past 27 starts. It's the fourth best winning percentage among NFL starting quarterbacks in that span, minimum 15 starts.
So basically, they haven't lost. New England has not beat Miami in Miami since 2019.
Yep.
So, which is what I was thinking. I think Miami wins. I don't think it's a blowout, obviously. I think it's going to be a similar score, probably something to the tune of 28-20 or something like that. Maybe even lower. This one could be 24-17 again, or it could be 20-17.
Yeah.
It would be Evan's favorite, just because I want to get Evan going. The Dolphins are going to win this one a last-minute field goal, 23-20.
Ooh, I'm going to hold on. 23-20. Jason Sanders.
But the offense does need to score more, right? But there are going to be games where you're going to be in a dogfight, and you're going to have to, you're not going to be able to score a lot of points, but your offense just has to be competent and stay on the field and put drives together, even if it's field goals. I'm not saying, but there's going to be games where that happens.
Yeah.
And, and we were in that kind of game Sunday night against the Patriots, and we won at the very end. It was a tight finish, but offense really only scored one touchdown in the second half that game. So this game is going to be similar. It's going to be close. It's going to be a dogfight. I don't see them losing. Now, if they lose, then we do need to have a conversation of, okay, who is this team?
Yeah, exactly.
Last year, this team was 8-3 before they lost that 4 in a row.
True.
So we really need to see this team just go into the bye week. As I'd love to be in the bye week 7-2. I would love it. That would definitely give us all hope. They beat the Chiefs, Patriots. They're on a 2-game win streak going to the bye.
If they beat the Chiefs, if they win, if they do what they're supposed to beat the Patriots, and if they beat the Chiefs, I don't know how anybody could talk about them throughout the season. Because you could lose another game, a tight one, blah blah blah, and you can have your questions, but you can't say contender because they're beating a team they're supposed that is going to be there in the playoffs, because it's either going to be Miami or Kansas City that the teams are going to probably have to play through when it comes to playoff time, if everything goes the way it's supposed to go.
Right.
So.
And they didn't get their butts beat like people are saying. They didn't get destroyed. They just didn't look great. They just didn't
No.
look good, but they didn't get blown all out. It was a better game than it was against Buffalo because at least the
It was
defense
definitely.
showed up.
Yeah. No, that's it. I came
Honestly, they
away
made
with this.
some plays.
The defense has been kind of like a question mark because you expect a little better from because of Big Fangio, but I haven't been disappointed with the defense yet for the Phillies game, for the Philadelphia game.
No.
I was kind of looking at the offense going, damn, I know it's a top 10 defense. I know it's a Super Bowl contending team, but I expected a closer game, or not a closer game, but I expected a more of a fight. You know, you need to show up against these teams. Take that question mark off of you. You know, and I know people say, oh, we're averaging 30 plus points a game. All right, but is that field goals? Is that 3 points?
Right.
Is that defensive touchdowns? And and again, who's the defense we're putting that on? We're talking about top 10 defenses in the NFL, and Miami has struggled against that. Again, 16.3 points a game because I'm not counting 3 points. I'm counting, I'm talking that's 7. It was not 10 points that the offense put on the Eagles. It was 7 points to the Eagles. Miami has to put up more than that. They have to put 24 points average against top 10 defense. They got to do better against that. Because those are going to be their playoff competition.
Right. Real quick before we wrap up, I think the offense is going to end up having to complement the defense. And I think as we're getting players back, the defense is going to start forcing turnovers. Ramsey's going to be a big help. He's going to bring the energy. He's going to fly around. Run defense, I think, will improve just with him alone. David Long's coming along nicely, which is nice because I liked him as a free agent pickup. But for me, it was like, okay, that's not all the improvement. We need more linebacker help. So, like, I still hope we get more help. But the trade deadline, I think we need to be buyers.
Yeah.
If the offense is struggling, my big trade that if I had to pick, as much as I would love Danielle Hunter for a pass rush, go get Derrick Henry. Because
I was just going to ask you. I was going to say.
Not matter. It doesn't matter who's up front. Doesn't matter who. Like, all you have to do is execute the system. You don't have to do all these sweeps and bells and whistles.
I'm with you.
You know, and we lost this against Philly. Brooks, I'm telling you, Chris Brooks would have been a part of that game plan because he's physical. He would have been a lead blocker, and I'm a little disappointed in Goldie in that game. But bring Derrick Henry. Man, that physicality up front. I know people
think about that.
Wilson,
grounded pound with. I know people say, "Oh, we got Jeff Wilson back." He didn't really show up last game. Of course, that could be kind of like a, kind of be careful with him. Yeah, exactly. But
McDaniel benched him for Debo, by the way, just in San Francisco.
Noted. So if you get Derrick Henry, think about Derrick Henry with Raheem and then Devon Achane coming back. We know Devon Achane is just special. You put those 3 guys together with this type of run, I'm with you. If I could, if you would say, "Hey, Bobby, Josie Jewell, Danielle Hunter, Derrick Henry. Who are you getting?" Derrick Henry. Bring me Derrick Henry. Bring me Derrick Henry.
Don't forget, last year we made a big trade for Chubb, and then made a minor trade with Wilson. So don't be surprised because Josie Jewell could still be in the.
You can get him for a 5th or 6th round pick. Yeah.
Right. Upgrade your middle linebacker, get your thumper linebacker, not cost a lot of money. Go get Derrick Henry. It's going to cost you what I don't know what's going to cost you, but go get Derrick Henry. And now
I would say for people who go, "Oh, think about how much we don't have draft picks." First of all, the Tennessee Titans. I live in Tennessee. Okay, obviously I have to. I hear all the noise or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tennessee Titans. They're sellers right now. They're trying. They just traded Kevin Beard, who is. People are pissed here. First of all, but that's what they're doing. They're selling. They're trying to gut this team so they could rebuild with draft picks and go from there. Maybe they're trying to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think they're going after quarterback, but that's just me. No. Maybe they're trying to go to Marvin Harrison and Will Levis have a star receiver, but they're gutting. So I don't think it's going to cost a 1st, a 2nd, maybe even a late 3rd round pick for Derrick Henry. You could get him for like a late 3rd, mid-round pick. You could probably trade up to a couple of next year's 3rd.
He's a free agent this year.
Exactly.
Or next
year.
So
it's not going to be a high cost. I want to win the Super Bowl.
$11 million. So they're trading him. I think they'll trade him. And I don't think it'll cost more. The highest is going to cost a day 2 pick.
Absolutely. But we'll leave it at that, guys. Mm-hmm. There you go. After all the defensive talk and a little bit, we left you with that. Go Dolphins. If they could make a move, Derrick Henry, I'm down with that. So, Bret, thank you so much, man. We'll probably be back next week. Maybe the same type of scenario. I like this. I think it's easy. So, but guys, all Dolphin fans out there, we appreciate you for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and most importantly, fins up.
Fins up.